Hey guys, CJ here with a brand spanking new review of Agent Carter. This episode changed up the formula we had gotten used to in the past by veering away from the adventures of Peggy and Jarvis, and rather giving us a Stark-centric story, with the result being a favorable, though perhaps not extraordinary showing. The story in this one mainly centered around Howard being back in town, and Chief Dooley visiting a potential informant in Germany, and their respective presences, or lack thereof, on normal activity. Howard was on the tail of the Blitzkrieg button, the titular device, a rudimentary EMP with the potential to, in his own words, plunge the tri-state area into the dark ages for years to come. All was not as it seemed, however, as the spherical device turned out to be carrying a vial of Steve Rogers' blood. Howard's deception was rewarded with a punch from Peggy, but it got us a good monologue from Dominic Cooper about Stark's childhood that really gave Howard his first good bit of development over the screen life of his character. So what was so valuable about Steve's blood? Medical miracles, according to Mr. Stark. Peggy had a last laugh, though, as she both burned him for being a narcissist and selfish, chewing him out for dishonoring Cap's legacy in what is definitely one of the highlight scenes of the show thus far. Their partnership is left up in the air going to next week. Hot in their tails was Mink, a smuggler who got Howard into the country but was cheated out of his payment when Peggy and Jarvis swooped in. His appearance was not a big issue in this episode, as he was unceremoniously killed by Peggy's mysterious roommate, Dottie, played by Bridget Regan. This was definitely Dottie's biggest impact on the show so far, and she too leaves us with many more questions than answers. With Dooley gone, Thompson, played by Chad Michael Murray, was left in charge, and what a sexist pig he turned out to be, to the surprise of probably no one in the audience. Sousa, with nothing else to do, finally saw some action and kicked some ass. Also found a lead with a hobo at the wharf that briefly saw Peggy and Jarvis, though luckily for their sakes he couldn't identify them. Unfortunately for Peggy, Sousa is drawing connections between her blonde photo and the woman seen at the docks. Literally, he's coloring in her hair to show the photo again to the hobo. Dooley, though out of town, was still making an impact. His story is actually one of the more interesting subplots of this one. His Nazi commander was not all he seemed, and the tale of the two Russian Leviathan agents continues to thicken. The battle they supposedly died in never occurred. The prevailing theory is that they stole the identities of dead soldiers, though the show hints at a more mysterious reveal coming later than that. The episode leaves off with Peggy hiding Steve's blood, the mysterious typewriter beginning to type in Dooley's office, and Dottie hiding Mink's body under her bed. Seriously, won't that begin to smell? The biggest surprise of this episode was an appearance from the Marvel patriarch himself, Stan Lee, in what has to be his most subtle Marvel cameo yet. Seriously, it's actually way more subtle than any of the movies, and it's perhaps his most natural appearance by far. And I'll leave that to you to watch the episode. I can't spoil that. The second biggest surprise was how much the pace changed up, considering it's a network show. Rather sticking to the procedurally based find-a-start gadget that the first couple episodes did, they shook it up, a daring move that actually paid off in the end concerning the level of intrigue. The other pros from the previous weeks hold up. Production value, dialogue, and acting all remain great for network television. The dramatic scene between Peggy and Howard is one of the show's best yet and is a must-watch. Though the intrigue was ratcheted up, the episode actually felt a little aimless as it juggled around advancements for multiple characters and storylines, from Howard and Peggy to Sousa, Dooley, Dottie, and arguably even Thompson. Lindsay Fonseca's Angie also fell on the back burner for this episode, acting as the odd man or woman out. The next episode hopes to fill all that, except for Angie, as Carter reunites with the Howling Commandos for an action-packed mission in Russia, hunting down a little girl who isn't at all what she seems. Ultimately, though, this episode leaves us more questions than answers, and that should be enough to keep us hungry until next week. So comment below with your thoughts and your predictions for stuff like what Dottie is really up to and what may have actually happened with the Russians. I'd love to get a good conversation going with you guys on this. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and be sure to vote for us in the Watch Mojo Top 10 Comic Book YouTube Channels poll. At the top of the description, that link is there. Just go hit the link, log into Facebook, and thumb us up. Also be sure to thumb up Comic Book Cash, J-Roar, and Caboose. All of those guys are great. Don't leave them out. You can actually vote for multiple people, so be sure to do so. Signing off, this is CJ, and I'll see you next time.
Hey guys, subscribe if you haven't yet. Like the video if you liked it, obviously. Share it on social media. Speaking of social media, we have a Twitter, so follow us on Twitter. We have a Facebook, so like us on Facebook. We do a lot on the social medias that we don't do on YouTube in particular. And we'll see you guys next time.